a very feared Pokemon, and a very respected Pokemon. That it has the highest base stat total in the game, not counting Mega Pokemon, and it just has a flat out 120 for every single base stat. Now let's put this into perspective. Many Pokemon don't even get 120 in any base stat, yet Arceus has 120 in all of them. And this leads to very, very absurd scenarios, because again, this is a 120 base hit point Pokemon. That's like the 25th highest base hit points across all Pokemon. And then at the same time, it has some of the highest defenses, some of the highest everything. That it always makes top cut when it comes to the stats, and it's either going to outspeed you and blow you up, or it's not going to take any damage from you, because of the way that these stats break down. Now, there's really not too much to add on to this, besides it's just absurdly overwhelming power coming from any base stat, so you have to be ready for anything that Arceus can use against you. Now, at the same time, it also has the multi-type ability, so that's why we're just going to go straight into Pokemon Showdown, because here's how multi-type works. If this Pokemon is an Arceus, check, its type changes to match its held plate. So the thing is, we can't really break down the typing of Arceus because Arceus can be any monotyping. So depending on which one you're running, all you have to do is look up the individual type. So say it's a psychic type or a water type. I've already reviewed pretty much every monotype up to this point, so you just have to figure out which one it was, and then you're going to be good to go on all the offensive and defensive breakdowns. So let's talk about Arceus. This Pokemon's very, very complex and very, very complicated to do a strategy guide on. I've been pretty worried about making this one because I don't want to screw it up, because now we have a Pokemon that can become a different Pokemon just from changing its type around, and it can also have a lot of different playstyles, so I'm just going to cover the basics. This is not an all-encompassing Arceus guide because I could be here for an hour talking about Arceus. Pretty much I'm going to go over the fundamentals and just kind of what you're looking for when you're running an Arceus, and then tune it around depending on what typing you want. Now, that's the really cool thing about it, that with 100 and all the, or 120 in the hit points and defenses, you can pretty much make a specific type to be a wall for the rest of your team, or a specific type to be the offensive pivot that covers all of the offensive holes you have in your team, and still be very devastating from it. So this first set is going to be Swords Dance, and it's not going to use a type. That if you don't give Arceus any plate, then it's just a normal typing, and you can give it an item, which is actually really scary to think about. So one thing you might see is Life Orb Swords Dance, that using all of this Pokemon's raw, intense, natural bulk, you can just go, Swords Dance. There's a very high likelihood you won't be able to one-shot me, and now I still get to outspeed you and then just destroy you. Now, depending on how you want to run this Arceus, you can change things around. That Earthquake, Shadow Claw are going to be really good coverage points overall, and then you just have extreme speed. Now, at this point, it probably goes without saying that Arceus is a very high-class legendary Pokemon, and will only battle in situations where other legendary Pokemon are allowed. Very rarely do people go, yeah, I'll let you use Arceus, I don't have a legendary Pokemon on my team, but you go ahead. No, Arceus is pretty much going to be brawling with legendary Pokemon almost exclusively, so that is something you have to pay attention to, which is why we run moves like Shadow Claw, that if you're going up against Giratina, Giratina is a monstrous wall, and you need to outpace it with Swords Dance and then do more damage with super effective Shadow Claws. So that's kind of the example of what we need to do here for an Arceus. At the same time, we have Extreme Speed. That Life Orb, Extreme Speed, Swords Dance with 120 base attack, getting stabbed, is enough to knock out Pokemon. Like, +2 Extreme Speed, boom, that's just the KO right there because Arceus is that powerful, which is why you have to understand which Arceus you're going to be running. Now, you can just run a Jolly Nature, go max attack and max speed, and then just set up Swords Dance and outspeed with Earthquakes and Shadow Claws, and look for the extra coverage, or you can just go and say, screw it, Adamant Nature. You go Adamant Nature, and then you max out the hit points. Now you're going to be an absurdly bulky Pokemon. And it doesn't really matter about the speed because all you need to do is survive to do the Swords Dance, and then you Extreme Speed them. And you just survive off of that, which means you probably don't even need an Earthquake, you can put something like Recover in, and now you're just going for the long sustain game. The idea is Swords Dance, if they do not 2-hit KO with the damage to you, you just out-recover them, and then Extreme Speed 2-shots them if they're not already being one-shot. For example, the amount of damage that a +2 Adamant Life Orb Arceus can pump out is enough to one-shot a Mega Kangaskhan with only 4 hit point investment. So sometimes you see a little more bulk on Mega Kangaskhan, but it has that 100% lowest possible damage on just your average Kangaskhan, and that's something to consider the amount of damage that this Arceus can put out. So that's why it is a very terrifying Pokemon to deal with, which is why I feel that Adamant Bulk can be a better option. Now, you don't always have to have max bulk either, that you can look for specific points where you need to outspeed other opponents. That, for example, if we have around 96 to 100 EVs in speed, we're going to be outspeeding base 100 speed Pokemon that have max speed investment but not a beneficial speed nature, because a base 100 is going to be 299 with like an Adamant Nature, so it'll be like 299 speed with an Adamant Nature or something like that. So that's like the other things we can look for. This is going to be great for outspeeding Giratina. Now, Giratina can run Roar, so this is when we just get into really specific type matchups, but overall you can kind of just run this set like this and get a really good amount of effect from it. And at the same time, you are going to be heavily reliant on physical damage, so maybe instead of Recover, you might want a Refresh. Refresh is going to be pretty good, remove status from the user, and now if you get Will-O-Wisp, well, you just refresh it away and then you go and blow them up with another Extreme Speed. So there are a little bit of things that Arceus can tweak around with depending on the tech you want to run, but overall, you can just kind of play around with all the stats and then just go for the +2 Extreme Speed KOs, and you're probably going to do just fine. Other things Arceus can do is be a tank with left. Arceus can tweak around with depending on the tech you want to run, but overall, you can just kind of play around with all of its stats and then just go for the +2 Extreme Speed KOs, and you're probably going to do just fine. Other things Arceus can do is be a tank with leftovers. Now, if you are going to be running normal Arceus, again, you can keep normal typing, which isn't bad defensively. That you don't resist anything, but you only have one weakness to fighting, and you have that immunity to ghosts. So if you want to run with leftovers, get some health back, that can work out really well. And with this, you can just kind of run Will-O-Wisp, Recover, Judgment, and really do whatever. As for speed investment, again, it's all over the place. That if you just want to outspeed Pokemon like Heatran that are running Timid Nature, I believe 280 hits that point. Let's see, if we have Heatran, 77 speed, we run Timid, and then we go for the outspeed. Yeah, it's 278, so you'll be able to outspeed Pokemon like that. If we want to outspeed base 80 speed Pokemon, then we just have to put in a bit more investment into it, and that's kind of just what we're looking at. After that, what else do you want to run? If we're already outspeeding and we're setting up Will-O-Wisp with Arceus, do we really need to be a full defensive tank? Maybe we can put in some special defensive investment because, yeah, now we're going to be a very high hit point, incredibly powerful move because ability for base move in a way that, you know, it's going to end up with a stab, it's going to end up with a lot of bonus damage, so it also has 100 base power. It's just going to be a huge move, so it's nice to tack onto anything. That even with a tanky set, you already have 120 base special attack, 276 special attack without any investment. You're doing damage even without investment, and then you can maybe put in another move right here. If you're going for an Arceus set, Calm Mind is going to help around. Because, again, Calm Mind and just very high amount of special attack. That pretty much you just need your one...
Find big deals at the store today. The savings end soon.
Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here. We're taking a trip from Kalos to Hoenn, and we're bringing Clawitzer with us.